Hello and welcome to a reading and analysis of William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Today we start Act 4, and in Act 4 there's a number of shorter scenes. This isn't the shortest scene in the play, but it's close, so a lot quicker than the last couple streams. You'll remember last time where we left off that Hamlet had just stabbed Polonius, mistakenly believing that it was his uncle Claudius spying on him and Gertrude. So we pick up with the king and queen talking about that. Claudius says, "There's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves you must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where is your son?" So interesting that he didn't say our son, right? He says your son. And matter in these sighs means significance. There's significance in what Hamlet's doing, a method to the madness, he believes. The queen says, "Bestow this place on us a little while." So that's to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern for them to exit so they can talk in private. "Ah, mine own lord, what have I seen tonight?" "What, Gertrude?" "How does Hamlet?" "Mad as the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras, hearing something stir, whips out his rapier, cries, a rat, and in this brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man." So there, Gertrude recaps everything that we saw just happen. But look at the king's response. He says, "O heavy deed, it had been so with us had we been there." So the king realizes that Hamlet's killing of Polonius was probably meant for him. "His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of haunt this mad young man." So short there means like a short leash, and short leash, and restrained, obviously to restrain, and out of haunt. The traditional meaning of the word haunt is to frequent a place. So like ghosts haunt a house because they keep showing up there. So meaning keeping him away from other people, keeping Hamlet out of haunt. "But so much was our love, we would not understand what was most fit. But like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, let it feed even on the pith of life. Where is he gone?" So he compares Hamlet. Well, first off, he says the reason that Hamlet wasn't sent away, even though he was mad and obviously dangerous, is they loved him too much, which is a little rich coming from Claudius. And the next metaphor we get is comparing Hamlet to a disease that someone keeps out of sight, and so it keeps like feasting on life itself, on the flesh. So like a skin disease that gets hidden or something, or a sickness that someone doesn't want anyone to know about. And I've talked about in the past how serious plague and disease and sickness are in Shakespeare's plays, how Shakespeare was born during a plague year. He was the only child born that year who reached adulthood in Stratford-upon-Avon. And a number of plagues decimated the population of Greater London. Eventually, the theaters are shut down to plague. So when characters talk about plague, it is treated very, very seriously. This is not something that's hypothetical to them. It's very real and perhaps the scariest thing in their lives. The queen says, the king asks, "Where is he gone?" To which Gertrude replies, "To draw apart the body he hath killed, or whom his very madness, like some ore among a mineral of metals base, shows itself pure. He weeps for what is done." So Gertrude tries to put a good spin on Hamlet, that Hamlet is weeping about it. If the king compares him to a disease, the queen compares him to a precious metal. She says he's like a piece of ore that, I'll just read it again, like some ore among a mineral of metals base. So base metals not as valuable as opposed to an ore of mineral, like a vein of gold, perhaps. That's Hamlet among his madness. So you see, Gertrude is still advocating for her son. "O Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. and this vile deed we must with all our majesty and skill both countenance and excuse. Ho, Guildenstern. So basically the sun's not going to shine on Hamlet again in Denmark. We need to get him out of here. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern come back into the scene. Friends both, go, join you with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged the body. Go seek him out. Speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you, hasten this. So Rosencrantz and Guildenstern sent out to go get the body, just the king and queen again. He says, come, Gertrude, we'll call up our wisest friends and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. So this next part here, the Folger edition explains the second quarto and the folio print some of these lines, but in other editions, obviously the first quarto, they're not there. So these are kind of contested lines, and they're pretty confusing actually, but we'll read what the Folger has provided, where it says, whose whisper o'er the world's diameter, as level as the cannon to his blank transports his poison shot, may miss our name and hit the woundless air. So the metaphor seems to be talking about that they're going to take the sting out of Hamlet, like a cannon that fires blanks, or an arrow that just hits the air. And then the king finishes the scene saying, oh, come away, my soul is full of discord and dismay. So we get a nice little couplet at the end with some alliteration. And that's the end of 4-1. So not a whole lot happens, but we do get a nice insight into, I mean, not a whole lot happens plot-wise, like advancing the plot. They were already planning on sending Hamlet away. But we do get this nice insight into seeing what Polonius' murder has done to Gertrude and to Claudius. It's definitely raised the stakes, but interesting to see that Gertrude is still advocating for her son. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. You probably noticed this stream was a lot later. Well, if you're watching it live, you notice this stream is a lot later than the other ones. I'm now directing a show, a Shakespeare show, so happens, a Midsummer Night's Dream, which if you're interested in learning more about, I've already done a full live reading and analysis of a Midsummer Night's Dream. So make sure you check out the channel, subscribe so you can catch that if you're interested in it. And if you're interested in any notebooks today, I'm going to be talking about Field Notes Streetscapes. These are these awesome sketch pads, basically. This one is LA and Chicago, and just the covers are really cool. They kind of invite you to fill them in with color. And you can get this at a discount on fieldnotes.com if you use the link in the description. You can also pick up on its own a pair or a set of Blackwing colors. This is 12 color pencils. Blackwing is some of the best pencils you can buy. These are legendary pencils, and these have a beautiful color to them, beautiful weight. They smell amazing, this Japanese cedar that's used in them. So you could get that as well or on its own. And like I said, there's a link in the description for 10% off your first order, and that goes and helps out the channel greatly, which I really appreciate. So thank you so much for watching. Next time we'll go into 4-2, which is even shorter than 4-1. But things pick up with these short scenes in Shakespeare. It's like the camera changing angle. Often it indicates pace, and we are rapidly moving toward the conclusion of this play. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments. I'll see you next time. Happy reading.